Good evening, G3 investors. This is Greg Gallagher, and this is part 2 of the video that did not get completed for the week ended April 3rd because of computer problems we had yesterday. So we started out with our bull trap of the SPY, the denial that we think is going to happen here. And I said it looked like we went from this high down to 218 on the S&P 500 index, the SPY. It looked like we stopped at 264, and then my theory is that we'll go lower. And I thought it was broken at that point in time. Boy, was I wrong. Okay, so what happened? Why did I think that? Well, here is a chart of the SPY, and you can see I've drew a little blue line in here as my flagpole, and you can see this flag here. Well, that red line right there ought to come down. I thought I'd moved that. I don't know why it didn't. But what really happens, see, is, let me see if I could draw a little line here. If this day hadn't went, you would have had a pennant flag like that. And normally those break out when you're below these critical moving averages, which is that red one is the 200-day moving average, the simple moving average. And this 65 EMA is sort of where I was looking. That looked to me like it was headed down into 280 as time went on. And that's how I came up with the 280. I just didn't pull that out of my hat. And there's other ways you could look at it too. If you did a fib number, using the 6.618, it might come out to 282 or something like that. So that was my theory. But as usual, you might be a moron. I might be a moron. Mr. Market is always right. So that's why we listen to Mr. Market and to nobody else. So what happened today? Well, the market, the fears about the coronavirus abated. The stock soared. The NASDAQ went up 7.3%. I mean, it was a wild day. I mean, look at this. And again, that doesn't mean we're not in a bear market still. We still are. Even though I love these advancing and declining numbers here. Those look good. That's green. Very good. That's green. Very good. But there's a lot of technical damage out there. And as we go through all the charts, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, what did we do today? Well, let's take a look at that. Okay, we actually went long, and we're 76% invested in all of these ETFs right here. And, and we have unrealized gains of $900, and then we actually lost money on a short. The short triggered. I thought the market looked like at one point in time it might roll over. This was, I don't know, around lunchtime or afterwards. And, we were up a little bit on this at one point in time. And then towards the end of the day, it just went bam. And we'll take a look at that. And there's no big deal about it. If we look at, I said this morning, I love the smell of volatility. Well, you can't ask for anything more volatile than what we had today. It just doesn't get any more volatile than that. Well, let's look at what the heat map looks like. Let's look at some green on the screen. This is the heat map of the S&P 500 for one day. This is one day, folks. I'm not talking about a month or a year or a week. One day. I mean, if you told me this was going to happen, I'd say you're nuts. All right, now we're going to go through each ETF, and it's going to take a little time, but I'm going to show you. I put in, normally I just put these in, and I don't have to put this blue line in to have the flagpole, if you will, but this is the Semiconductor Index, which is the semis have been a strong leading sector this year as well as last year and the last 2 years, and they often lead the market. Why? Because semiconductors are in everything. I mean, they're in computers, they're in, I couldn't tell you what all they're in. So they're very critical to our economy and to the world economy. So I drew my flagpole in here, and you can see again, there it was, a pennant. And to go from a pennant that looks like it's going to break out and go down to the bottom, okay, and test this bottom. I'm not saying we're going to go down to 170 in the next 3 days or the next 3 weeks even. It's going to take some time. But to go from this to this in one day, it's amazing. Hell of a move, I want to tell you. Now, here's where we get into some weakness. Let's look at XLF. Whoops. Fat finger. XLF. Okay. So XLF is our financial sector. I drew their pennant. Same thing. Hey, it didn't have as big a move. So as far as I'm concerned, this is no longer a pennant flag. This is just a normal flag. Because it's not going like this. It's back to within the red and green lines, which is what I normally draw on all of the ETFs that we follow, so I can explain to you all what my thinking is and how trading works. Now, this is how Greg Gallagher draws these things, okay? You can go find guys who will say, well, you shouldn't do this and you should do that. Oh, my goodness. Mr. Marshall, he really screwed that up. I don't give a shit what they think. You know, I mean, this is how I do it. XLK. I think this is another one. Yeah, we just barely got in. Now, if you can't see that pennant right there, you are blind, my friend. You might be a moron. I love that. I'm just joking when I say that. I don't mean anything to anybody. We just barely broke out there. I mean, that high is like 84.25, and 84 was our number. So we got into it, you know, and that's what trading's all about. If you don't trade, you don't win. So you're going to have losses. We lost $215 today. Big, hairy deal. We have $150,000 or $140,000 in our of capital. Who cares? We lost $200. Nothing. That's what trading's all about. When the loss means nothing. And that's how you have to think as a trader. And that's how I want you to think when you learn how to trade. You have to have something that you can afford to lose. It's like you're going to Vegas, but you're not playing Vegas. You're playing something incredibly more powerful than Vegas and incredibly more exciting than Vegas. I don't ever have to go to Vegas again when I can do this all day. Now, and again, here's a strong one. What happens? This red line here is above the blue line. That's a good sign. So if this market does turn and just say, proves Greg Gallagher to be an absolute idiot and goes up here, great. This is the one that's going to turn and lead us up there. So is the SMH. Now, how do I know that? Well, I don't, but that's the probability theory of it. That's what in traders say that's our expectation. Does it? No. Does it have to happen? Heck no. Mr. Market could decide we're a bunch of idiots, and like he did today. I mean, he proved that I'm an idiot and that I'm wrong. The only thing is, he doesn't know that I don't care. I'm following him. I'm not telling him what to do. And the last thing I want to do is get angry with Mr. Market. Because when you do that, you can make big mistakes. And believe me, folks, I've made them all. Okay, this is a classic flag. Okay, now it's a very weak ETF. Look at the blue line and look at how this is getting wider here. That is not good. That is bad. The energy sector, and one of my favorite trades is UNG for in the wintertime, although I've got a horrible story to tell. Look at that. I mean, the energy, that's natural gas and oil. If we had, I don't even know what it is, OIL, is that it? Or okay, crude. There you go. That is ugly. That is a major bear market. UNG's been in a bear market for 14 years or something like that. It's incredible. That's how we can tell it's weak. Okay. So let's go back and look at the XLY. That's one we got into today. Or let's go forward and look into it. Okay, now I didn't draw my little thing here high enough to make a flagpole out of it. That's why I'm drawing it. There's nothing up here. I could say here it is or here it is. I'm just drawing a flagpole. That's all I'm doing. But you can clearly see the pennant formation here. But what did we do? We broke clear out. Now, this is a classic 1, 2, 3. See, this is a low. This is a higher high. And it got higher again. So I moved the thing down. It used to be at 102. I moved it down to 98. And we hit right in it. And it went $100.63. So there you go. So that looks like it, to me, it wants to go up there and test that little red line. This sector is not as strong as SMH or XLK. Why? Because our red line here, our faster moving average, is below our slower moving average. And it's a pretty big move there. Wouldn't surprise me in the least to go up here and test this in the next 30 days. But do I think that the market's not going to get nervous about the coronavirus? Why Donald Trump could say something in one of his things tonight and they could go crazy. These people are not happy about the coronavirus for some reason. I don't understand that. But okay, here's another classic pennant. Okay, boom, boom. If I had to draw a flag, I'd draw it like that. Okay, sorry, I don't have any way to draw with this cursor. I'm too stupid when it comes to that. Again, this is a little stronger, but see, it's stronger. How can we tell it's stronger? Well, the red line is below the blue line, but it's almost right there, and we're almost at it. So when you get there, it doesn't take a whole lot of power to power on up. So if this market does turn, healthcare is probably going to be a leading sector, and I'm going to be looking to put more money in that than the ones that don't move. But we got to figure that out before we can do it. All right, now let's go to XLI. That's the industrial sector. Sorry this is taking so long. Okay, there we go. Boom, boom, and boom. Weaker sister. Okay, let's go to the next one. So we didn't get into that one. XRT. Okay, very weak sector. So why did we get into that? Well, this is a different formation. Notice I didn't draw a flagpole. Why didn't I draw a flagpole? I should draw something else. I'm not going to do it. So watch the magic cursor. It goes one, it goes down, up, up. It's a W formation. Now I've went over this and had other videos on the W formation. It's a bottoming formation, a very powerful formation, especially if there's a Wyckoffyan low. There's not in this case. That would be, Wyckoff was this trader who figured out that when it makes a new lower low, you can set your entry point at the low of this point and get in at a very low point. And it often works very big time. Okay, don't ask me why. It's just him studying the market for 289 years. Okay, I don't even know if he's alive or not, but I know everybody talks about the Wyckoffyan bottoms and the Wyckoffyan retest. It'll test this bottom. It might go out here for 13 more days before it finally makes a lower low and then takes off like a rocket. It does it sometimes. So that's a very powerful bottoming formation, and that's a decent breakout. Look at the volume. Nice volume. Again, hey, that's a big move. If we go from 30 to 37, I'll take that. That's nice money. Kachingo. All right, now let's go to XLB. This is, and I'm making this long. Okay, again, there's the pennant formation. Okay, but hey, it said no, didn't quite break out, so we don't know. But you know, it's a weak sister, but hey, you never know. With materials, we have to have materials. If this economy is going to get rolling, well, Donald Trump's dang saying he's going to pump some trillions in it. So it's probably going to happen. XHB. I just think it can still be surprised. Now, again, I didn't draw the flagpole high enough here. For me, I want to see it. Yeah, there it is. Boom. A pennant. And look at what it did. But it didn't make it up here. So again, the home builder is a weak sister. No surprise there. Housing prices are falling like a rock here. I sold my house back in August of last year, and they still think I own it. All the people keep talking, and they said, Mr. Gallagher, your house has dropped by $59,000. Oh, I'm like, no, it hasn't. I sold it 6 months ago. Bite me. Okay, here we go. A little bit. So it's a weak sister, and it's more of a W formation. I should have recognized that, but it didn't go down here far enough. So to me, it's still a pennant. And these are, some people will say, well, these flags are bear flags, and up here they're bull flags. I don't care. Who cares? I'm not here to buy flags. I'm here to make money trading. Let's look at the indexes now. This is the fun part, right? Okay, this one definitely was, I even have to bring it above the blue line. There we go. There's the pennant. So Mr. Gallagher thinks he's smarter than the market. Wrong. There it is. It broke out. I didn't, even at 3 o'clock, I still didn't think it was going to make it. But it did. It was incredible. I couldn't even get the stuff out to you guys to say, hey, this trade's hitting and this trade's hitting. I'm not used to this. This is not normal market movement. This is, I ain't seen something like this since 2008 and 9 and 2001, 2, and 3. I mean, I'm telling you, this is amazing. Don't like the volume here. That's the only thing I don't like. But I have never put any money in the bank on volume. So I'm looking at the price and hey, that's a good move. And the NASDAQ 100, that's the NADX, that's the 100 big cap non-financial companies that I explained earlier in the other video. Hey, it's a leader. So we could easily break out of here. This is a confluence or a something or other. I can never say the right word, but hey, that's a good sign. If it breaks out of here, it could run. You know, might run up to 212 or something, which would be a fib number somewhere in there, 212, 213. I don't know. I'll take it. I'll follow it all the way up there and go ka-chingo. All right, SPY. Now, I'm not going to go over the SQ and the TWM because right now, when you have 7% gain, the probability is we're out of that. We're not going to be doing that. But who knows in this market? Where's the SPY? I want to show this. I already went over the SPY, I think. Did I? Yeah, I did. I even drew the pennant for you on that one. I am so fast on this machine. I don't know how you people can keep up. That's a joke. All right, another pennant. Boom. There we go. The IWF. There you go. Why do I play that instead of the Russell 2000? Because that's the one that moves. I want movement, and I got it. Hey, Toyota. All right, let's look at IJK. I think that we got into that one. Yeah, we did. Now, I wouldn't have called that a pennant. I don't know. You'd had to draw it clear up here. But we didn't break out. And again, it's a weak sister. And it's definitely not a W formation. But, yeah, the mid-cap growth, I've never been impressed with that. At certain times, when those stocks are moving, it's dynamite. But they don't seem to be moving too well this year. All righty, IJT, that's the 600, I think. Come on, fat finger. IJT. Oh, Greg. IJT. There we go. Definitely a pennant. Definitely didn't make it. Definitely a weak sister. IYT, the transports. This is important. You know, all these are important because if we're going to go into a new bull market, we have to have the transports. Now, they almost got up here, but I'm not so sure I should have moved that. I moved that down, and I will get in it if it made it, but it didn't make it. I do like the volume, and it is a weak sister, has been weak. Okay, but we'll see. ITA, or as I like to call it, Boeing. Boeing went boing today. Boy, I thought, now if there was one I thought was going to break the town, this is it. When you have that with no volume, and the next you're betting on the next move, and you've had a move like this, and then it's just like drawing up. That's despondency, and you're going to go, phew. But nope, there we go. Mr. Market tells me I'm wrong again. Now gold, this is another sign that this market is still fearful. Why? Because look at the gap here on the 65 EMA to the 200-day. Okay, now, and this is a flag, and everybody would call this a bull flag. They would not call this, because you went out at one point in time, it was a pennant, but then it broke out, and I had the entry set at 150, and this is the one that I wrote to the tier 2 patrons and said, I was so PO'd, okay, because I missed the trade at 154. Well, you didn't have a chance, but you could have got in at 154.16. I got in at 154.40 or something like that, because I was asleep at the wheel thinking the market was going to go short. Not massive volume, but man, I'm shocked that gold's not higher than this. And again, the big boys are playing around in here, and I don't know what to do other than to follow them. Hey, that's an idea. Why don't we do trend following? Oh, I'm a victim of circumstances. Okay, that's it for Greg Gallagher tonight. I did find out what is wrong with my computer. It turns out the temperature was getting up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's what was causing it to break down. So I went online, got a little fan controller app for free, and now I can see what the temperature is on my computer, and I can control the fan from my desktop, and all is well, and we'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm probably going to have to get a new machine or get somebody to go in and look at this thing. This is Greg Gallagher with G3 Investors, wishing you good trading and good luck.